What brings you here?
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. Wasn't a war. It was a god stepping past himself. The country of Raed Saris and all their heathens. They're paying for it now. Although by my count, the fire should have roared through their country with more force, catching all their souls. Truth, it wasn't even a war. It was a cautionary tale about pride. Specifically, Widewind's pride. He should have stayed a farmer. Gods have taken flesh, in all respects, taking willing and unwilling vessels. It's not a violation, it's what gods do, as long as they accept all that comes with it. Men are weak. Gods? Well, we showed old Widewen that he was flesh and blood, no matter how much light was pouring out of his farmer's hands. Took men of faith to build a weapon, a godhammer. Judgment. Proved him dead at Halgot Citadel. We poured the God Hammer into its foundations with faith. Set it alight. Let the hammer fall, upwards onto the anvil. 8 died before the God Hammer fell, and the God Hammer claimed the remainder. 12 in all. We started saving the Eothasians from themselves, burning any that didn't die with their god. Heresy in Rayed Ceres is one thing. Heresy here in the Dyrwood comes with a more personal touch. As I see it, every Eothasian who still lives in the Dyrwood puts the nation at risk, is another dagger held to the throat of our faith. Root them out, burn them, or send them back to Rayed Ceres to wallow in the blood of their failure.
I trust all is well. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Not as a land is its lord's, more as a child is its mother's. This castle was my design, you see. The Earl appointed me to do it. I was getting on in years. I knew it would be my only chance to build something magnificent. When it was built, I couldn't bring myself to part from it, to go back to my lonely home. I begged the Earl to let me stay, to take care of it. It was all I wanted, and he granted it. Years later, when Bereth's usher finally came calling, I begged the Earl to find a way to let me remain, and so he did. The Earl of Yenwood, the original, in fact, when Deerwood was a colony. He found this site, the only ruin Ere Glanfarth refused to defend, and he believed its wealth would be great. The keep was his way of defending his family's claim, and that claim became his obsession. He had to know what lay beneath. He devoted his life to excavating the ruins below the keep. They had been sealed with rock and soil. Deliberately, it would seem. Years passed, and with them the Earl. He dug his entire life and never found what he sought. His obsession became his sons and his sons' sons. And one day, that young Earl broke through. After that, the keep remained abandoned, unused, wasted. Meowall's mastery of this place was the first hope I'd had in 200 years. How I've longed to see it as it once was. Imprisoned? At times it feels that way, I suppose. But it's more that I reside here. The throne was brought up from the ruins, one of the first things they found. As a last favor to a dying woman, the Earl arranged for me to be moved into it. Audra is an accommodating vessel for a soul. Oh, it's not as confining as it seems. I can feel the whole keep from here, and all things that are tied to it. There's something about this throne and its construction. Or maybe it's something about this place.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skidding your knuckles on the wrong door. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. Durance? We've shared the fire and a difficult road enough. Enough to know you're willing to suffer one and walk the other. Every god who has followers has a chapter solely for them, whether they know it or not. I know it. This chapter is not a thing of intent, but a flame that catches you. Everyone hears dogma and hymns and rituals in a different way. And whether they admit it or not, the fires that catch your senses all weave into a larger bonfire, which becomes your religion, your way of life, your road. Worshippers take what they want from the god, and then translate it. So it was with Durance. Was a man once, before he became the religion. There is no scripture, no poetry or wordplay open to interpretation. Its disciples are often not welcome, so they walk the road. A physical devotion. Many a metaphor has killed a man, when it would have been best to show him the truth of it, as ugly as it may seem. Before Durance, I put my faith in a great many such words, and encouraged others to do the same. All were weaker for it, unworthy of the flame. The reasons are so many, you would age and die listening to them all. But the teachings of Durance also included casting established clergy out who might need reminders of such devotion as well. As the disciples walked the road, the trials of Durance they suffered and dispensed were also ones of justice. All potential converts, even the faithful, were tested for weakness. And if their weakness broke them, so be it. If they survived, then they were transformed, made stronger as Magrin seeks of all. Before I followed the way of Durance, I did not test myself. I did not test others. Weakness and injustice thrived around me because I permitted it to be so. Justice was not seen as our duty. Justice was a thing of Woodica. Transform them. If they broke, so be it. The greater the ruination of their flesh and soul, the greater their hope of salvation. It was the struggle that would strengthen them. One can have enough of words until you hunger for giving the red gift to some prattling fool, whether they serve Magrin or not. God and faith can drive a man to do much others would find difficult. Durance himself admitted as much. He did not relish the task, but he did not shy away from it. All life does, whether by Magrin or not. The Saints' War made it necessary, and as distasteful as it may have seemed, well, now, every mark of Aethys, every weak soul that exposed our throat to the enemy, they would answer for every soldier and Magrin disciple that had fallen. I punished others, yes, men, women, children, and I did not spare the staff or any other instrument I felt would learn them and strengthen them. A purge not just of Aethys, but of frailty, a burning of dry fields, a sacrifice at the whore's altar. But who needs her words when one has her flame to show the way?
Hail, traveler.
Welcome.
Woden Talej died 18 Majavernho 2808. Third Battle of Cleaban Relog. Blazing Glanfather names, I swear. Rayet Saris? I'll be the effigy. He fought for Rayet Saris. Why did he fight for Rayet Saris? We gotta go there. That battlefield. Clea... the one I said. I don't know how else I'm gonna make sense of all this. I gotta see what he saw. And who knows, maybe his spirit will even be there and you can have one of your weird talks with him. I mean, worth trying, right? I appreciate that. I wish I could say you won't regret it, but you certainly might. This is the place. My big brother's last battle. I wish I could tell you what we're looking for. Anything from that battle, I guess. Whatever 15 years of rain has him buried. You see my brother's ghost, you give me a holler, all right?
These ruins are claimed, friend. On your way.
No need to get riled, boys. We're just passing by.
Look at his talisman, Pag. Eothasian.
How about that? A godless sack of shit. We got a blazing corpse worshiper on our hands.
Actually, they never found the body.
Only reason for the legacy is because the Duke doesn't got the guts to see you all slaughtered. The gods want you dead. Me and Pag, though, we done our part during the purges, didn't we, Pag?
Seamstresses?
Make your cracks now. Got no god or homeland to avenge you. By Magrin, this'll be short work. Doesn't matter who it was for anyway. Country's better for the purges. Maybe we start a new purge right here.
I've seen these before. They top the standards of Rayet Saris. Or did when Weidman was alive. Well, it's something. Just not sure what it gets me. Anything? Looked like you were working real hard there. What'd he talk about with Weidman? I figured that. Woden and me had heard enough stories from his uprising to know it wasn't just some tall tale. Doesn't mean he was Aethys. It could have been some wizard's trick. It's what they talked about that's important. What'd they say? That's not funny. Come on. That metal sun, my brother touched it. You saw where he went. Now what'd he talk about with Widewind? Why'd my brother fight for Rhea and Saris? I guess that's it. I don't think we will. What will we do? Look for more war relics? We were lucky to find this one. Soldiers that fought with him are long dead. The battle was a massacre. Whatever Aethys knows, he's not talking to anyone.
Need something? Wild? Yes, I suppose all of us were a bit wild as my tribe was migratory and we didn't live in permanent houses. But I understand what you're trying to ask. Yes, a slight plurality of Glonfoth and Orlans have forest plumage. Growing up with meadow plumage, I was assumed to be weaker than others my age. The huntmaster of my tribe only chose apprentices from the forested kin, or rather, wild Orlans, as they're called amongst slave-owning bigots, as well as bigots too broke to own slaves. I grew up in Glonfoth, specifically in and around Thane Bog. My people, the Fisher Crane tribe, are migrant stewards of the land. I've walked the whole of Glonfoth many times.
How do you do?
Well met, friend. Hail, traveler.
Do as you will. He's no longer my concern. Ah, it's done then. Vetsano plays with fire and someone else always pays the price for it. Your charity is more than he deserves. Still, at least I don't have to deal with him anymore. For that, I'm grateful. Whether you intended to or not, you've done the Valian Republics a service today, ridding us of him. I work closely with the Embassy to protect our interests, but lately I think our gaze has been too narrow. You clearly have pursuits of your own in the city, but I think we could help each other out. If you're interested in doing some work for us. Officially, I mean. We can go together and I'll introduce you to the ambassador. Good. Maybe I can finally do something more worthwhile than playing nanny to merchants. The embassy is up in First Fires, southwest of the Ducal Palace.
Gods keep you. Good day, stranger.
Ambassador Agosti, I would speak with you on a matter of some urgency and great importance. Ambassador, I implore you to take a step back and look at this again. What is it the Dukes need of me, Ambassador? Echosi, Ambassador. But won't this provoke the Dear Woodins? Their country is falling apart, and we're already dividing up their trade alliances. More than that, Ambassador, there is a practical element to consider. We may profit in the short term from this arrangement, but what of the future? The Deerwood won't forget, and the Republics may pay the price for it. Of course, Ambassador. Could have gone better, could have gone worse. Not that you helped put up much of a fight. Enough wisdom for both of us. Now, I just need to find out how to get to Twin Elms before the Ambassador loses his patience. I wish I knew. Eder, how is it you Eothasians stay so optimistic? The world has not given your kind much reason to hope.
You get to a certain point and you realize you got two options. You can go mad with grief and tear out all your hair and check yourself into the sanitarium, or you can wait for better days.
Well, feathers in my case. But I understand your point.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. She's a goddess, as fickle as they come, and with all the failings you'd expect of an empress and a whore. Too many eyes, too many wants, too much to hold on to. That's the failing of a god. More aspects than words to describe her, like most of them. A god with many nations to oversee, only serves to spread herself too thin.
Your mind comes bearing questions, Watcher. It is because I once believed I was one, and others believed I was one. The birthing bell. It is where I could draw new souls into the world. I recall some of the memory of it through what you have seen, but not all.
Need something?